guys, welcome back to another video. Before we jump into this, if you're new here or if you're returning and you enjoy the content, you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. But let's start off here talking about the insane value and awesomeness that Xbox Game Pass is and has been in 2023. We go back to 2022. We rewind an entire 2 years as we were sitting through 2022 and we were thinking, are they going to be able to recover from not being able to release any first party games? The way that 2022 was still a decent year for gaming on Xbox was the fact that they did release a lot of great Game Pass stuff and third party games, but they absolutely dropped the ball when it came to first party releases. If we fast forward to 2023, they did extremely well with first party releases, tons of content, tons of day one content. And on top of that, we got great indie games launching day one, as well as third party games launching day one. And we have this tweet here from Game Pass Tracker saying the Xbox Game Pass had a total of 50 day one releases in 2023, saying how many did you play and what was your favorite? And I feel like this is a great thing to look at and to talk about because it really does put into perspective the insane value that Xbox Game Pass is and how much content came out throughout this entire year that will completely destroy any narrative that there is nothing to play on Xbox from a first party perspective and from a third party's perspective. So here's the picture. You can see just some of the major titles on here starting off at the beginning of the year with games like Hi-Fi Rush, Atomic Heart, and Wolong, and even MLB The Show, which is a first-party PlayStation game, dropping day one into Xbox Game Pass, and a bunch of other games there that I'm sure people were excited to play, like Everspace 2 and Minecraft Legends. Then you move on to the mid of the year, and you have games like The Last Case of Benedict Fox. Redfall obviously had a terrible release, but people were still waiting in excitement for that game. Ravenlock was a cool game, and you keep going here. You have games like Planet of Lana, which was a pretty neat experience. Then we continue on. You have games like Cocoon that came out in September, which won the indie game, and Forza Motorsport later on. And you got the Persona 5 Tactica, The Man Who Erased His Name Like a Dragon. Like all of these huge games coming into Xbox Game Pass, Lies of P, just an absolutely phenomenal year. And then you also have the smaller games in between there that people really did enjoy. Like you had the Quake 2 remake, you had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, Sea of Stars, which launched into the service. And of course, you don't want to forget about Starfield launching as well. That was a huge release and just such great content coming to Game Pass. It's going to be very interesting to see how Xbox is going to be able to top 2023 in terms of all of the releases that they do have coming out, not just from first party, because I think it'll be no problem for them to release at least the same amount of first party games, and there's going to be a lot of good stuff in there, but getting great third party and indie games as well to fill out the entire year from games launching day and date onto the service. So a great year in 2023, and I'm more excited than ever to see what Xbox does have to bring in 2024. So I just want to start off with that because seeing this picture, it just made me sit back and think it's insane. Wow, how many games that we have. And I feel like a lot of people lose perspective at the insane value of what Xbox Game Pass is. It gets me excited looking at all these games and thinking about the future. Now let's jump over here and let's talk about some Naughty Dog and Bend Studios. As somebody who owns a PlayStation 5, and I've played every single PlayStation platform since the PlayStation 1, since Sony were making consoles, I've picked up the console every single time. One of the things that I absolutely loved was just like the variety of games that were available on PlayStation, especially from their first parties. If you go back to games like Resistance and SOCOM and Sly Cooper and a bunch of other stuff from Japan studios that they would put out, Shadow of the Colossus, games like those, right? Those games I always thought were phenomenal. And I like those games more than the current offering that PlayStation does have. Not that the current offering is bad. They're very high quality games and a lot of people do love them, but I just like the variety that PlayStation used to have. So when I see stories like this, it is disappointing. And that is that Bend Studio and Naughty Dog worked on an unannounced project. It says here, it was recently discovered through information written up on a LinkedIn page of a senior gameplay animator that Bend Studio and Naughty Dog were at least for some time working on an unannounced project together. This is in the job history of Adam Lawson, who has since moved on to Archetype Entertainment. It was written that he worked on an unannounced project between the two studios that were collaborating. Now, this is what they say is the most likely scenario that could have happened to this game. They say Bend Studio would be working on Days Gone 2 or a new Siphon Filter game, but those are seemingly increasingly unlikely as time goes on. They say we know Days Gone 2 was shot down internally some time ago, and Siphon Filter hasn't been seen for more than 15 years, so that's a pipe dream. And that's another game that I would love to see PlayStation bring back, Siphon Filter. But we know what happened with Days Gone 2. We know that they had pitched a scenario for creating that game, and Sony said, no, you're going to go back and you're going to help Naughty Dog work on the Last of Us remake, which I think for a lot of people, very disappointing. Many more people, I believe, would have rather had the Days Gone 2 to see how they can evolve from the first one, which actually was a decent game, and just improve on the things that held it down. And then we got the whole report of the studio being annoyed that they essentially were just used as a studio to help Naughty Dog make the Last of Us remake, because Sony knows that title, the name The Last of Us, is going to sell no matter what because of how popular it is. And it ends off here and says, last year it was stressed that Bend Studio was deep in development on a new IP, but we all know is that it built upon the open world system of Days Gone. That isn't much to go on, and since then, nothing more has been said. So disappointing news here, because we could have had another new IP, another new game between two studios that have made great content in the past, and now we have absolutely no idea what is going on and when we will hear an announcement as to exactly what Bend is working on. This is another studio a lot of people kind of forget about, we haven't heard of or haven't heard from in a very long time. And is 2024 going to be that year that we finally see what they're working on? Is it going to be part of the PlayStation roadmap for this year? Is it going to be something that PlayStation comes out as a showcase early in the year and just surprise everybody and give new games, new IPs that have been in the works for years and that they're going to release in 2024? We will wait and see. That's the only thing right now that I think can save PlayStation in 2024 with no roadmap from a first party perspective, is if they have a showcase in January or February and they just blow everybody away because they've been holding their cards very close to the chest and announce games that are going to be releasing this year. Even if it's just like one or two more games, I think that will help them get through the year as they wait for other games to be developed for 2025 and beyond. But we'll see if that actually does happen. I feel like I'm kind of skeptical right now with the way that PlayStation is going, but my fingers are crossed because like I said, I have PS5 and I do want to play it. All right, let's jump over here and we're going to talk about some rumors about the next upcoming Xbox. We are checking my watch that I don't have on, midway through this current generation, just about. We're getting to the midway point of the Series X, S, and the PlayStation 5. And what always happens during the midway points, we got rumors popping up about the next Xbox and how this thing's going to be crazy and blow people away, and comparisons between the PS6 and whatever the next Xbox name is. All of that type of stuff always crops up during halfway through the generation. And this is no different, as there is a report here from WCCF Tech saying that the next generation Xbox will be powered by a Zen 5 CPU, and this is due for a 2026 launch. And it is rumored to be cheaper than the PlayStation 6. So this is exactly what it is. And this comes via a video shared on YouTube. Red Gaming Tech revealed how the timeline for the next console by Microsoft shifted significantly since the documents leaked by the FTC earlier this year. And according to sources, the console will be released during 2026 and will be powered by Zen 5 CPU and not by a Zen 6 CPU as revealed in the documents, as the sixth iteration of the Zen architecture will not be ready by then. So that's pretty much all that this rumor is saying. There's no real sources or anything from this rumor. And I feel like I think this was one of the same people. I'm not 100% sure, but there was a lot of people out there that were saying like RDNA 3 for the PS5, which absolutely was not the case. So you definitely need to look at this stuff and take it with a massive grain of salt. But that's what we've been hearing from the rumor mill when it comes to the next Xbox, is that they are potentially just going to launch into the next generation earlier in 2026 rather than actually put out a Pro box or a new iteration of the Xbox Series X. And that would be an interesting move by Xbox. You can obviously bet that it would just be compatible with everything currently there. Even if you were on the Series X, you're going to be playing the same games as whatever the next Xbox is. It's not going to be cutting off the current customer base. It's just going to be a new iteration of the Xbox that provides more power and gives developers more things to be able to use. And the weird thing about all of this is we are going into 2024, and I would say there's still so many features on the Xbox Series X that developers just don't use. The full potential of the box hasn't been really pulled out yet. And we're already talking about the next gen of the Xbox. While we're sitting here waiting still for the Series X to perform to its max potential, we will see that eventually. This always does happen near the ends of the generation where developers, they figured out all the tools. It's easier for them to use these tools. It's easier for them to develop. They have to spend less time actually making these games run and look great. Not saying that so far games haven't ran and look great. There's still tons of great stuff here on the Series X. To me, I'm not really disappointed. I know some people are always disappointed by the graphics and the frame rates and stuff, but I've really enjoyed my time on the Series X. But we're already talking about the next gen and whether Xbox is going to put this thing out in 2026. It would be an interesting move because I feel like this would be put out before the PlayStation 6, especially if the PS5 Pro that everybody has been rumored does come out in 2024. To me, this would mean that Xbox is planning to do the Xbox 360 strategy, which is release the next generation or release the console for the next generation an entire year at the very least before the competition releases their console. And that worked wonders for the Xbox 360. So maybe they're looking at the current console sales and seeing how far they are behind the PlayStation 5 and thinking that this would be something to consider going forward. So it would be a very interesting strategy to see if they do this because it did work with the Xbox 360. And I think the Series X and the Series S generation has won back a significant amount of fans. I think they've won back a significant amount of goodwill, as well as people looking at Xbox now. I think look at it in a completely different light than they looked at it at the Xbox One. Right now, the Series X and S, when you see Xbox and what they're offering, all you think about is games, and more games, and the fact that you can get into Xbox Game Pass and play a bunch of stuff. I mean, we just looked at the 50 day and date games that came out in 2023. So this could be that generation with the Series X and S where they win back fans, they win back that goodwill, and then they launch the next Xbox earlier than the PlayStation 6, get out to a hot start in pushing those devices, and they will make even more gains on the console side of things when it comes to the PlayStation 6 and competing with them. Not that the console sales to Xbox is the biggest thing that they do care about, but if they do go this route, you could tell that they're going to want to be trying something different so that they aren't in the situation that they are in right now, specifically when it comes to the sales of the console. All right, let's jump over here. Let's talk about Obsidian and Bethesda. A lot of people's favorite Fallout game is Fallout New Vegas, and this was a game that was created by Obsidian and not Bethesda themselves. And it looks like they were trying to offer Bethesda to do the same thing, create a Fallout New Vegas, something to give to fans in between the releases of the mainline big titles. So it would be between Elder Scrolls 5 and Elder Scrolls 6. They were offering to do something very similar here with the Elder Scrolls and have a spin-off for the game. This is according to the Obsidian's co-founder and former chief creative officer, Chris Avellone, who revisited the subject on Monday after an old X thread resurfaced last week via 80 level. It says here that Obsidian's sole Fallout game was 2010's New Vegas, although the studio once hoped to develop more series entries as well as to make games in Bethesda's fantasy RPG series. But according to Avellone, various pitches from the studio he left in 2015 were rejected. He says, "This is true. One of the Elder Scrolls proposals was intended to serve the same function as Fallout New Vegas did between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 to provide more adventures in the setting during the years before the next Bethesda release." So obviously that clearly did not happen. They looked at that and rejected it. And unfortunately for a lot of people of Fallout New Vegas and of Obsidian, they'd be very sad to hear this. One of the coolest things here when Xbox purchased Bethesda, the main thing that a lot of people thought about was the fact that Obsidian and Bethesda were back. They are in one place. So they could definitely go up there and do more Fallout New Vegas types of projects because they're all under the same first party, which is Xbox. And it'd probably be easier to get it done. They all be working with the same resources and stuff like that. So that was something that a lot of people were hoping would come to fruition. That obviously hasn't yet, as Starfield was released. Avowed is being worked on. That's coming out. So maybe when they both have some time, maybe there will be something that does happen in between them. But we know Fallout 5 is nowhere near being released. I believe they have a one pager, is what Todd Howard said so far on Fallout 5. And Elder Scrolls 6 still very long ways out. So the question that I think Bethesda fans do have right now, even though Starfield just came out in September, is when is their next big game? When is Elder Scrolls 6 going to be coming out? And it probably won't be for a number of years. And I feel like if Obsidian, after Avowed comes out, has the time, has the resources, because they're also working on the Outer Worlds too, but they've worked on multiple projects before. If they wanted to make a spin-off to Elder Scrolls 6 to hold people over for the official game or the main line game, I would absolutely hop on that if I was Xbox and I was Bethesda and getting them to work together. I think that would be super cool. But obviously they offered it previously and it did not come to fruition. All right, let's just end off here and let's quickly talk about the Xbox perks coming up for December 2023 and some other freebies that you can get access to. One of the things with Game Pass that I love are the perks. A lot of people don't talk about them. A lot of people just forget that they're there, but they're free stuff that Xbox adds on to increase the value of these subscriptions. So first of all, if you have some friends, Xbox is allowing you to give away to 5 friends a free 14-day trial of PC Game Pass, and they will also get a $5 coupon to spend at the Microsoft Store. This ends December 31st, and you can also go ahead and claim, if you're a Sims 4 player, the Romantic Garden stuff, and that is free until January 3rd. Now, here is the other stuff that is part of the Xbox Game Pass perks for December 2023. You have Century, Age of Ashes, Skeldian, Arboretum Dragon packs to show your royalty with the Majestic Skeldian Arboretum Dragon, the Spectral Dominion Speak, and a 14-day XP booster. For somebody who's playing Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, you're going to be able to get some monthly bonuses. Says jump into an all-new Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis with some items to give you a hand and half-scape dolls to help revive you during intense battles, and photon chunks 50 to strengthen weapons and units. So if you're somebody who plays Super Animal Royale, you have Season 9 Perks Pack here. It says take your animal apparel to the next level with the Super Animal Royale Season 9 Xbox Perks Pack, including the all-new green and black tie, Firework, Super Right, Laser Weapon, and Party Hat. For the next one is for Vigor, the Deep Stalker Pack. The hunting season is in full swing, so gear up and venture into the Outlands to track down your prey and claim your ultimate trophy. And then finally, World of Tanks, there's an aim and attack bundle, which is get a new tier 7 tank and a 3D commander. So these are the perks for 2023. And like I said, these are just free stuff that you get added on to certain games via Xbox Game Pass. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.